What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we've got our Pac-12 projected records here in this video. We've done all the Power 5 now. If you missed the other conferences, you can go back and check them out. Just like the Big 12, I think there's going to be a lot of parity in the Pac-12. These are not predictions. It's simply a projection based off of what the national narrative is around each of these teams, and then putting that up against their schedule to get a projected record. We'll be doing predictions here very soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's look back at last year's projections in the Pac-12 North. Oregon was projected to win. They were projected to go 9-3. They went 10-2. Flip that Ohio State game around and they would have been 9-3. Washington really underperformed, projected to go 8-4. They were just 4-8. Cal missed it by one game. They missed out on a bowl game there. Washington State beat their projection by one game. Oregon State beat theirs by two. And then Stanford, they were under their projection by one game. So that's what it looked like last year. And again, these are not my official predictions. It was just a projection, just like we're going to do here in this video, around just what most people are thinking about these teams, and then putting that up against the schedule. So Washington State this year projected at the bottom of the Pac-12 to miss out on a bowl game, go 5-7. They were really close to 6-6. I had to make the wins and losses come out right, so it did bump them down to 5-7, but very close to 6-6. Don't pay as much attention to the conference records as you do the overall records. I do the projections based off of those overall records, and then we just kind of fill in the conference records to make the wins and losses add up and go along with those overall records. But some of those could be tweaked by a game up or down, you know. So Washington State there at the bottom. And then we had Cal at 6-6, getting to a bowl game this year, just missed out last year, and they're projected to go 4-5 in the conference. Again, don't read too much into that, but the 6-6 record is what you want to look at. Stanford projected to go 6-6 as well, and just because their non-conference schedule is tougher, it does kind of give them a better conference record at 5-4. But that could very easily be flipped, and Stanford could even maybe go 5-7 because they were close to 5-7. They were in between 5-7 and 6-6. But anyway, Stanford, Cal, kind of really all three of these teams in that same category. And then Oregon State ahead of them. We had a three-way tie here with overall records. Oregon State at 7-5. And then Washington also at 7-5. They're projected to have a bit of a bounce back this year. And then Oregon also at 7-5. I know a lot of people are going to say 7-5 for Oregon, but you know they have a tough schedule. They have BYU and Georgia in the non-conference. They could easily lose both of those games, and they might wind up being 7-5 and then say going 6-3 in the conference and winning the division, or even 7-2, going 8-4 overall. You know, 7-5 is probably worst case scenario. I understand that's a low projection, but it just shows you how tough their schedule is, and that's really the whole point of this. Oregon has a pretty tough schedule for a Pac-12 team this year, and we see Oregon, Washington, Oregon State, potentially all three of these teams with a shot. And even if you look at the conference records, Stanford's right there as well at 5-4, but again, at that overall record, a little bit lower at 6-6. Projections for the South last year had a USC at 8-4. They went 4-8, another big disappointment. USC and Washington, the big disappointments in the Pac-12. Utah beat their projection by one game, so did UCLA. Arizona State was right on the projection at 8-4. Colorado under their projection by a couple of games, and Arizona under theirs by two. They were projected at 3-9, did even worse than that at 1-11, and they are projected to finish at the bottom of the Pac-12 South again this year. A little bit better though, projected to go 4-8, 2-7. We'll see how that plays out. Ahead of them is Colorado, also at 4-8, but the projection kind of works out to where their conference record would be 3-6, losing two non-conference games. And then Arizona State at 7-5, same projection as last year for them. Or no, they were 8-4 actually last year, so down a little bit for Arizona State. With I think a tougher game in the non-conference. Can't remember now who they play. UCLA at 8-4, also 5-4 in the conference. They have a very easy non-conference schedule. You see that they don't really have any chance of a loss in the non-conference, so an 8-4 overall record beats Arizona State, even though they would be projected for the same conference record. USC projected to go 8-4, 6-3 in the conference. So they would be right there at the top of the division, along with Utah, also at 6-3, but 9-3 overall. Let's say they lose to Florida on the road, then you could change that 6-3 to a 7-2, and they would win the division outright if that third loss came to Florida. But again, Utah, USC, they seem to be the favorites. Don't count out UCLA, maybe even Arizona State. Colorado and Arizona, I think, pretty safe at the bottom of this division. So that's how the projected standings would look. We'll see how it plays out in real life. Again, my predictions coming very soon, so stay tuned for those. Give me your thoughts on the Pac-12 down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.